Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Don Jo number ELP 208P-SL. This is a latch guard is what this is. I have one removed here from the packaging so we can take a look at it. This is a piece of possibly stamped steel. Silver enamel paint. I'm not exactly sure of the process of manufacturing this item. There's a small amount of labor involved on it. Now, where would you use this? I'm going to say that this is used for an electric strike application when you need that cavity on the back, that recessed cavity. There's obviously no cylinder preparation, so this might be very perfect for an mortise sectional trim on a mortise lock or a exit device trim on a mortise exit device. But I think electric strike is going to be the key component of using this unit specifically. Okay. Now let's take a little closer look at this item in terms of its dimensional properties. Now let's go over the dimensional properties of this item. And according to the manufacturer, this material is 3.5 inch wide. Sure appears to be more than 3.5. About 3 3/4. And then 8 inch tall. 8 inches the overall height. Yeah, right about 8 inch. Okay. The area that you're going to mount to the face of the door, to where the cavity starts, is about 2 1/16 of an inch. Okay. Okay, right in that area. Then, of course, the balance of that will be the cavity area itself. And I would say you'd have about 1.5 inches clearance. And then the depth of the cavity, let's measure that. The depth of the cavity .626 from here down to the bottom of that, about 5/8. Important to note that there is an offset involved here. So this would be appropriate when your door is going to be inset into the frame ever so slightly. And let's gauge what that inset is. It's probably going to be about 1/8 of an inch. Or maybe a little heavy on that. And this is just an approximation. My caliper tells me it's about 3/16, about 0.194, so about 3/16. Okay, from here down to here. That's going to be really good for a typical offset, an inset, where your door is set into the frame ever so slightly, which is common on hollow metal doors. That would be considered standard. Aluminum storefront, though, not necessarily. So be mindful. Some aluminum storefront material is flush to the face of the frame. The face of the door and the face of the frame are flush on the pull side. Sometimes they are inset. This would be appropriate for an inset application. You could use it on a flush application as well. The only issue is you're going to have a margin between the, you'll have some gap between the face of the frame and the back side of the latch guard here because of its compatibility with an inset application. So let's switch now. Let's first talk about the other finishes, then we'll take a look at the supporting documentation for this item. This is going to be available in dark bronze. They have a dark bronze version of this, and they have, of course, the silver painted. They also have an EBF version. Now that has everything to do with the screws that are included. This is going to include a carriage bolt and an acorn nut, and then it's going to have a one-way, it's going to have a rivet, a type of rivet. They have an EBF version of this where, and what EBF basically means is that the profile of the head of the bolt on the inside of the door is very flat, and I will demonstrate what that means. Let's switch to the screen view so we can take a look at this item's extended information, and we'll get to the product brochure and we'll talk about the EBF fastener. Now here is the item that we're looking at, and this is the item shown here. In our extended description, indeed, it's for use with electric strikes, made of 12-gauge steel, no cylinder hole. That's the important part, that there's no hole for a cylinder. Now, the cylinder version is going to be part number ELP 208. And we're going to drop the P in the part number, and that's going to give us the cylinder version. Available with or without cylinder hole. Well, this is the with cylinder hole version. And the difference is just that there is no P in the part number here. So we'll go back to our product. Here it is. Okay, so no cylinder hole, designed to fit most electric strikes. Yeah, I would say I would certainly confirm based on the dimensions provided earlier to make sure the cavity is adequate. And speaking of dimensions, I wanted to measure the thickness of the steel. They say it's 12 gauge. My caliper tells me 0.106, 0.106, 12 gauge. Decimal equivalent. It's 0.109 is what 12 gauge ought to be. So this is measuring 0.106. Completely encases the keeper for maximum protection. The dimensions and the finish and its optional finishes we've gone over. Let's look at the template that's linked to here. You'll see all of the data that's available. They say 12 gauge 0.104. Okay. Dark bronze, silver paint, enamel type paint. They say pocket clearance is 0.875. I would not really agree with that in the sense of we measured our cavity at about 5/8. Now, if they're measuring from what would be the face of the door, if they're measuring what would be the face of the frame to the inside of the cavity, I would say that that would be fairly accurate. Our cavity depth, again, about 5/8. And then if we add that offset in the plate, which was about 3/16, you know, you're going to be at 13/16, so close to 7/8. Okay, close. So what I'm driving at is this plate has an inset to it. Well, actually, it looks like this, and then you have the large cavity here. Okay, so it's basically like that. So, you know, here's your cavity dimension. What I'm saying is if they're measuring from the inset to the cavity, that dimension is going to be pretty close to 7/8. You know, the face of the frame is not going to be that dimension, because this is going to be very close to the face of the frame. The overall dimensions, we've already reviewed that and have confirmed that they are accurate. Now let's switch over to the product catalog where we can touch on, first of all, the EBF fasteners that are here. They're listed. EBF fasteners. So these are the EBF fasteners, and what you'll see is this very small profile head. That's that typical carriage bolt that's on the outside, but that EBF fastener is meant for this. So here is our frame. Okay, let's just say that that's our frame. And here's our door. When you mount that plate's going to mount like here. Little giddy up, cavity style area. It's going to look roughly like that. Well, that carriage bolt is going to fit here. It's going to run through the door, right? You got your threads. Well, that's where that acorn nut needs to sit, right in this area. The issue is this: depending on where you're going to locate that EBF fastener, if I were to take this area here, that EBF fastener is going to sit really low profile in here. That's going to run, of course, through the door. Your carriage bolt will sit here. Your plate's going to sit here, right? Basically. So that's what that is intended for. Low profile head. So the EBF fastener is meant to contend with, and this template is the wrong template. Here's our template. 1 inch from the edge to the center of that hole. Then it says 1 7/8 to where the offset is going to begin. So 1 inch over. So you can basically determine whether or not you will need that EBF fastener, which means that you're going to be 7/8 of an inch from where the offset begins to the center of that hole. Well, your stop is going to be 5/8 of an inch. And the outside diameter of that acorn nut is going to be about 1/2 of an inch. So I would think the EBF fastener, the EBF style, which is just 208P-EBF, is going to be the preferred bolt head to use. I would use that regardless. I would order that to help avoid any conflict, to eliminate any conflict. And if there is any conflict, well, you'll be mitigating it right from the word go. So I wouldn't worry very much about that. So the 208P, if we just were to do a search in their catalog that's listed here, product catalog, which is here, will allow us to get to the table where they show the ELP 208P and its sister products. Okay. Here, they talk about the finishes that are available, options that are available of all of these units, mortise, keyless locks, and exit devices. This would also work for a strike plate that you have hanging off the face of the door as well. Might be a bit excessive for that, but nonetheless. So this catalog will allow you to review all things latch guard related from Don Jo. And if you know the name Don Jo at all, you certainly do for their latch guards and their door reinforcing plates. So I would take a tour through this catalog. Just quick, everything in here is common. This ALP is common for outswinging wood doors. I see those all the time. The NLP are nice because they're nice and narrow. They don't take up a lot of room and they're effective. I see this on the back of coffee shops all the time. Our national chain coffee shop uses this on the back of their doors. I've seen those often. In-swinging latch protectors are also here. That is their ILP. They have a 6-inch and a 12-inch, and they're here. This is for an in-swinging door application. Okay, so that exists as well, and then a variety of other applications. Now, below this video is a link to the manufacturer's page, which is right here, and we can click on that, and we can pull up not only all of the Don Jo products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog, as well as their catalog into subsections. Again, if you know them, you probably do for latch protectors and wraparound plates, but they have many other items that you might want to take a close look at, because they are a company that has a relatively petite footprint, but they do a very good job in these areas. And the other areas that might apply to you would be strike plates. They have a tremendous offering of extended lip, custom, and standard strike plates as well. But they also do push and pull hardware. They do pivots. They do ladder pulls. They do mounting tabs and signage along with filler plates and hinges as well. Let's finish up this video on camera. Okay, now in conclusion, this is a nice quality product from Don Jo, a good quality company. They're relatively nimble as well. They can occasionally produce shipping times on material from stock that are quite excellent. And their name is synonymous with door security hardware, especially those wraparound plates. I'm partial to Don Jo, and it's because they genuinely do a good job. They want to do a good job as well. Normally, when you call there, the person that answers the phone is the person that can answer the technical support question as well. In the rare instance when they make a mistake, they make it good. In almost all instances, they make it good very quickly as well. If you have any questions on the Don Jo ELP 208P in an SL finish or any other Don Jo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.